Good evening and welcome. I'm Sanford Unger, president of Goucher College, and I'm delighted to welcome you all to Krauser Auditorium for our Fall 2008 President's Forum. We're very pleased to have with us tonight a very special and important, prominent figure in the media landscape of the United States today, Arianna Huffington.
12 days before an incredible election. I was going to tell you how I feel, but Larry David of Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm fame wrote a blog for the Huffington Post, which is on the site now. And I asked our editors to send it to me on my BlackBerry so I can read you a little bit about it, because it sums up how a lot of us are feeling. And he's saying it better than I would say it. So, it's called, the blog itself is called Waiting for November 4th. So he says, I can't take much more of this. 2 weeks to go and I'm at the end of my rope. I can't work. I can eat, but mostly standing up. I'm anxious all the time and taking it out on my ex-wife, which ironically I'm finding enjoyable. This is like waiting for the results of a biopsy. Actually, it's worse. Biopsies only take a few days, maybe a week at the most, and if the biopsy comes back positive, there is still a potential cure. With this, there's no cure. The result is final, like death. If Obama loses, it would be easier to live with it if it's due to racism, rather than if it's stolen. If it's racism, I can say, okay, we lost, but at least it's a democracy. Call me crazy, but I'd rather live in a democratic, racist country than in a non-democratic, non-racist country. It's not exactly a Hobson's choice, but it's close. And I think Hobson would compliment me on how close I've actually come to giving him no choice. He'd love that. I just want to say a few soothing things to you. And there are actually 3. The first has to do with the polls. Now, I actually have no respect for polls. In fact, at the Huffington Post, we give you all the polls you want, but we give them to you in the context of something we're calling half-astrology. So at the same time that we give you the polls, we give you the latest daily astrological charts of the candidates, by which we mean take everything with a large pinch of salt. So, that's how I feel about polls. However, as I was coming here from dinner, I just checked the latest CBS poll that just came out. And Barack Obama is maintaining his double-digit lead. I really believe that this is the end of Rovian politics. Who killed Rovian politics? We have to say the internet did it. Because what used to happen, remember 2004, back in the dark ages of 2004, before YouTube. Can you believe that? YouTube was launched in February 2005. So during the 2004 election, there was no YouTube. There wasn't even the Huffington Post, can you believe that? So, during those dark ages, the swift voters could, for example, say anything they wanted about John Kerry, including, as they did say, that he actually inflicted his wounds on himself in order to get a Bronze Star. And the media would occasionally correct it, but then move on to what John Stewart calls the next shiny object, because the media suffer from attention deficit disorder. So when the media suffer from attention deficit disorder, people who lie, distort, and mislead have a great opportunity to actually get through to larger numbers of the American people. But we in the blogosphere suffer from obsessive-compulsive disorder. So we don't actually keep up on a story, we stay on it. For example, when Sarah Palin told us that she has always been against the bridge to nowhere, not only did we and the mainstream media expose the fact that wasn't true, but we stayed on it, and we stayed on it. So when the campaign and Sarah Palin kept coming back and repeating it, if you remember those days, it seemed as though, hello, it's not true, stop talking about it. It didn't matter, they kept talking about it. But then we also kept talking about it, and finally they stopped talking about it, have you noticed? And that doesn't make us having lack of objectivity makes us honor the greatest mission of journalism, which is to ferret out the truth. For example, we are no longer debating whether the earth is flat. We are not debating creationism. Well, you know, Sarah Palin is because she thinks that dinosaurs lived together with men at some prehistoric period, but most people are not debating creationism. So why are we still debating global warming? How many years did we waste debating global warming? But now, more and more in the media are actually recognizing that their responsibility is to point out the truth when the truth is clear and obvious. So that is also making it harder for campaigns to just simply say anything and expect that the mainstream media will simply present their side of the story as well as the opposing side of the story, like Pontius Pilate, you know, washing their hands of any responsibility to get to the truth. The fear-mongering that the McCain campaign is doing is not really working. It worked in 2004. It worked in 2002. And I've always believed that ever since 9/11, every election is going to come down to national security, no matter how bad the economy gets. And that Republicans would be able to fear-monger their way into victory. And basically, the McCain campaign, as I put it here in an ad I wrote for them, basically wants you to believe that we may not be good for your bank account, your mortgage, your health care, or your job security, but none of that will matter if you are dead. John McCain, if you want to live. John McCain was a maverick. He was a real leader. He was willing to stand up for principle. And then he was really hijacked by the right. And he made this Faustian bargain to sell his soul to get to the White House. And it's really tragic. It's really a Shakespearean tragedy. And I say that because it's a Shakespearean tragedy when a nobleman falls. You know, it's not when Mitt Romney falls. But, you know, John McCain was a nobleman, and he's always going to be an American hero. But he has now surrendered everything he used to stand for. Remember, he used to say there is a special place reserved in hell for people who do the kind of calls that were done about him and to him in South Carolina in 2000 when he was accused of fathering a black child out of wedlock, which was the child that they had adopted from Bangladesh. And now he has hired the same people who had done these robocalls in South Carolina to do robocalls against Barack Obama. I mean, how much further can you fall? I really believe that everything is aligned for an Obama victory. The main thing, the main reason why I believe ultimately he will be victorious is because the center of American politics has shifted. So what used to be considered left-wing positions on healthcare, on global warming, on Iraq, on corporate responsibility are now solidly mainstream positions. And he represents those positions, which means he represents, not as he said famously in his 2004 speech, the blue states, but he represents the United States of America. Thank you.